we should fix all the critical severity first, and then we can fix the low severity defects afterwards. So these were all the manual testing matrices. So we have done with all the manual testing matrices. Now let's move to the performance testing matrices. So what are these matrices? So as we had explained earlier, these are the 6 matrices that are there in the performance testing: performance scripting productivity, performance execution summary, performance execution data, which is client side as well as server side. Then we have performance test efficiency, and then performance stability index. So we'll just go through it very quickly one by one. First one is performance scripting productivity. So this metric would give us a scripting productivity for performance test script and have a trend over a period of time. The formula for this is performance scripting productivity is equal to operations performed divided by effort in hours, and that would come as operations per hour. So what are operations performed? There can be number of clicks on which the data is refreshed. For example, you are clicking a refresh button, you are clicking an add button or an edit button wherever the data is being changed. The number of input parameters, how many input parameters are you actually entering it into a system, and the number of correlation parameters. For example, entering by one parameter, there is a corresponding change in some other parameter. So all of these things are treated as the operations. So we can take a very simple example in this case also. For example, this for the number of we have recorded these operations. For example, there were 10 clicks that were performed. There were 5 input parameters and 5 correlation parameters. So if we calculate the total number of operations performed, it was 20. And the effort for performing these 20 operations was 10 hours. And then we can simply divide it by 10, and we can have a figure of 2 operations per hour. So this performance scripting productivity will have 2 operations per hour. So we can also have this trend analysis, wherein in the current month it is 2. However, in the previous month it was 1.8, and then in April it was 1.5. So we can have this kind of analysis by using this particular figure. Next one is performance execution summary. So this metric gives the classification with respect to the number of tests which were conducted along with the status, that is either pass or maybe fail, for various types of performance testing. So some of these types of performance testing are, let's say for example, peak volume test or endurance or soak test, breakpoint or stress test, and or failover test. And then once we have defined these parameters, and then we take those values, we can easily do a comparison by in this particular way or method. For example, there were around 5 test cases which we had done on peak volume test, out of which 3 were passed and 2 were failed. Sorry, or 2 were passed and 3 were failed. There was 1 test that was passed, endurance test was 2, 1 passed and 1 failed, and then 1 failover test was passed. Moving on to the next part, it is performance execution data, which is client side. And the following are some of the data points for this metric. Like we had data points for the earlier metric. For the client metrics, we have running users, we have response time, we have hits per second, we have throughput, we have total transaction per second, we have time to first byte, and error per second. So these are some of the parameters which we can evaluate in performance execution data client side. Similarly, the next one is for the server side, the performance execution data for server side, and these are the data points that we can capture. For example, the CPU utilization, the memory utilization, the heap memory utilization, and the database connections per second. Moving on to the next metric, that is performance test efficiency metrics. So in this, this is a metric which determines the quality of the performance testing team in meeting the requirements, which can be used as an input for further improvisation. And this is a formula, that is the requirement met during the performance test minus requirements which were not met during after sign off of the performance test divided by the requirements met during performance test. And then we can multiply it into 100 by getting the percentage figure. So in order to evaluate, I'll come to the example later. In order to evaluate this particular metrics, we need to collect the data points. As there was data points in the previous example, this metrics also have the data points. For example, some of the requirements of the performance testing may be the average response time. So what is the average response time of this particular transaction, or the transaction per second? How many transactions can be performed per second? Then, or maybe there may be some kind of other area like the application must be able to handle predefined max user load. For example, if I am creating a website, I can have somewhere around 5,000 simultaneous users. So my application should be able to handle these many simultaneous users, or some kind of server stability. That what is the stability level of my server? Is my server crashing every now and then, or what is the uptime of the particular server? So all of these things can be explained with the help of this example. So consider that during the performance testing, the above mentioned requirements were met. All these requirements which I've just highlighted. The requirements met during the performance test was 4. In production, the average response time is greater than the expected, then the requirements are not met after sign off. That is equal to 1. So, so out of the total of 4 requirements, 1 requirement was not met. So the performance test efficiency would be 4 divided by 4 plus 1 into 100. That would come out to around 80%. So in this particular case, the performance test efficiency is 80%. We can have a trend analysis also, that in the current month it was 80%. However, in the previous month we were able to meet all the requirements. It came to 100, and in the month of April also around 1 requirement was not met, so it came to 96. So this kind of trend analysis can also be done in this performance efficiency trend. The next one is performance severity index. So this matrix would determine the product quality based on the performance criteria on which one can take a decision for releasing the product to the next phase. That is, it would indicate the quality of the product under test with respect to its performance. So the formula for this is severity index into the number of requirements not met for this particular severity divided by the total of requirements not met. So if the requirements is not met, so one can assign the severity of the requirement so that the decision can be taken for the product release with respect to the performance. Suppose if there's one, for example, the page load time fails, that when just around 40 users log into the web app, into that application, the application just crashes. So I would consider this as a very high severity, and then we can decide whether or not to release a particular software without fixing this particular issue. So in this case, I've taken another example that the average response time is an important requirement which has not met. Then the tester can open the defect with severity as critical. In that case, the performance severity index would be 4, which is very much critical. So this was, we can show it we can have this graphical representation where there is just one critical defect which has a performance severity index of 4. So that was all about the performance testing. Now we have a third category of matrices, that is the automation testing matrices. So all the folks who have been doing the automation in their respective companies, they might have come across these matrices